Hello and welcome to VNews Daily Bulletin. Coming up next, we have your top stories.
President Trương Tấn Sang visits Central Highland Đắk Nông province. Lao Premier praises cooperation ties with Vietnam. Rice exports jump as more of last year's orders filled.
President Trương Tấn Sang visited Đắk Nông province on March 19 as part of his tour to border localities in the southern Central Highlands.
Visiting Quang Trực commune Tuy Đức district, the president asked the local authorities and people to pay attention to protecting forests and planting more trees. The local government should take drastic measures to prevent free migration, reduce poverty rate, and apply advanced technology to agriculture. The commune should also maintain good relationship with Cambodia as it shares a 34-kilometer border line with the country. The agriculture-based commune of Quang Trực is home to 2,200 households of 17 different ethnic groups. While visiting Regiment 762 under the Army Corps 16, the leader spoke highly of an initiative to develop an area of wild land into a large coffee and macadamia farm. He also asked officials and soldiers in the Dak Som border post to work harder to safeguard the national sovereignty and ensure national security, as well as help locals in socio-economic development. Working with the provincial authorities, the president acknowledged the province's achievements in promoting socio-economic development and ensuring security and defense, especially in border areas. He praised local authorities for their efforts in improving living conditions for locals, building party organizations in rural areas, upgrading the infrastructure system, and accelerating new-style rural area building. He also pointed out some existing issues that need to be addressed, such as forest destruction and water wakefulness, which may lead to natural resource exhaustion and climate change. Hailing achievements in developing products for export such as pepper, coffee and cashew nut, and creating industrial and agricultural value chains, the state leader mentioned shortcomings the province needs to fix in the coming time to improve the quality of goods to international standards.
On March 19, Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc received Japanese Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry Hayashi Motoo, who is on a working visit to Vietnam.
Welcoming the minister and his delegation to attend the first meeting of the Vietnam-Japan Joint Committee on Industrial, Trade and Energy Cooperation, the Deputy Prime Minister expressed his belief that the meeting will be a success and contribute practically to the development of the bilateral economic and trade ties. The Deputy Prime Minister suggested Vietnam and Japan focus on addressing difficulties and boosting trade promotion to increase Vietnamese agricultural and aquatic exports to Japan. He asked Japan to help Vietnam develop the support industry, build a nuclear power plant in Ninh Thuận, and improve the quality of its human resources. For his part, Hayashi said he hopes that the two countries will intensify economic, trade and energy cooperation. The two sides should only hold policy dialogues related to garment and textiles, introduce technologies to ensure safety for nuclear power plants, and focus on developing human resources, he suggested.
Lao leaders appreciated the cooperation between their Ministry of Planning and Investment and its Vietnamese counterpart during separate meetings with Vietnamese officials in Vientiane on March 18th. At the meeting with Lao Prime Minister Thong Sinh Thamavong, Vietnamese Minister of Planning and Investment Bùi Quang Vinh informed the host about the outcomes of a working session between the two Ministries of Planning and Investments. He said that during the past years, the two ministries have cooperated closely, regularly exchange experience, and jointly coordinate Vietnamese projects in Laos. The two ministries will tighten their connection in the time ahead to thoroughly manage and examine Vietnamese investments so as to remove ineffective projects and improve overall investment quality. Prime Minister Thongsin Thamavong spoke highly of the fruitful cooperation between the ministries and described the partnership as a considerable contribution to Laos' economic development. The leader also took this occasion to thank Vietnamese businesses investing in Laos, affirming that Vietnamese firms have helped with his country's economic growth. Also on March 18th, the Vietnamese delegation was welcomed by Lao Deputy Prime Minister Somsavat Langsavat, who also lauded the affiliation between the two ministries. The same day, the visiting officials and the Lao ministry, led by Minister Somdi Duongdi, had a working session during which they discussed very straightforwardly their attainments and failures. They agreed to strengthen collaboration, stringently monitor Vietnam's investment projects in Laos, and determinedly remove ineffective projects. On late March 18th, Deputy Prime Minister Somsavat Langsavat presented Laos Isara Order First Class for Minister Bùi Quang Vinh. The order is a noble award of the Lao state to recognize the officials' significant contributions to the country's development, as well as to bilateral relations. A ceremony was held on March 18 in Hanoi to celebrate International Francophone Day, which falls on March 20th.
Addressing the ceremony, Vietnamese Deputy Foreign Minister Ha Kim Ngọc said he highly appreciated the Francophones' efforts in promoting cooperation and solidarity for peace and development, while expressing his delight at the community's increasing role in international arena. The official highlighted the achievements Vietnam made last year, affirming the year marked the 5 developments in Vietnam-Francophone relationship. The Francophones' representative in the Asia-Pacific, Eric Norman Thibault, spoke highly of Vietnam's commitments to the community. He affirmed his bureau will always make efforts to foster cooperation with Vietnam. He also said the organization will stand ready to assist Vietnam in its participation in the UN peacekeeping missions, especially in some French-speaking countries.
Vietnam exported more than 856,200 tons of rice in the first 2 months of 2016, raking in almost $350 million, year-on-year increases of 101.89% and 81.73%, respectively.
According to the Vietnam Food Association, the surges were thanks to many orders to handle last year, including some big government contracts with Indonesia and the Philippines. The association anticipates exports to reach 1.3 million tons in the first quarter, 56% up from the same period last year, given the number of contracts to be delivered remains high at around 1.4 million tons. Prices are currently high in the domestic market, despite this being the peak harvest season, and the association announcing no plans to stockpile the grain. High demand from exporters, coupled with forecast of falling output in the Mekong Delta due to drought and saltwater intrusion, have pushed up the prices. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development reported that by March 5th, around 139,000 hectares of the winter-spring rice crop in the 9 provinces has been damaged by drought and saltwater, with the loss estimated at 1 million tons. In previous years, the Vietnam Food Association proposed purchasing 1 million tons of rice for temporary storage at the beginning of March to support domestic prices. But this time, farmers can earn reasonable profits at current prices.
Prime Minister Nguyen Tân Dũng has requested Hanoi Authority to develop its overhead and underground transport to ease congestion in the capital and neighboring provinces. Under the Prime Minister's newly issued direction, the Ministry of Construction was assigned to research and rearrange the city's urban and industrial zones, especially those near highly congested traffic. The Prime Minister directed the arrangement of waste treatment areas, which work effectively and not affect residents' lives. He also directed agencies to make sure cemeteries meet the residents' needs while encouraging cremation. The direction focused on research for provisions of overhead and underground forms of transportation to solve urban traffic and congestion at the capital's gateways. It suggested additional bridges across the city's Ring Road 5 and strengthening connections among localities in the region. The Prime Minister requested a survey on a high-speed railway system with detailed reviews for each route to establish investment projects with various capital resources, including private investment. The airport system should be studied to ensure economic development and national defense and security. Nội Bài International Airport in Hanoi will be operated and expanded following an approved plan, while Cát Bi International Airport in Hải Phòng will be a backup for Nội Bài. There is no plan for an airport in Hà Nam province yet. Regarding policies to attract resources for the development of transport infrastructure, the region's infrastructure should be studied according to the actual potential of each locality in the region, including resources from land and the central budget, to attract investment from domestic investors and foreign resources. The Municipal People's Committee has been assigned to work with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and relevant ministries to plan dike systems and prevent flooding. The Hạ Long Cherry Blossom Yên Tử Golden Apricot Festival 2016 with the theme of integration, cooperation and development kicked off in Hạ Long City on March 18th.
This is the annual festival organized by the People's Committee of Quảng Ninh Province and the Wanoka International Cultural Association from Japan. Festival activities included performance and art programs by Vietnamese and Japanese artists, cultural activities, and exhibition of cherry blossoms and apricot flowers. The golden apricot flowers of Yên Tử Mountain are on display for the first time at the event, which will run until March 21st. There are also stalls introducing tourism, culture and food from Vietnam and Japan.
The nature reserve in Sơn Trà Peninsula in the central coastal city of Da Nang is home to a precious primate species, the red-shanked dog langur. To protect the queen of the primates, the Municipal Natural Resources and Environment Department has asked the People's Committee for approval to turn the unique monkey's image into the city's biodiversity symbol.
The red-shanked deer langur is listed in the Vietnam Red Book of Endangered Species and the International Union Conservation of Nature Red List of Threatened Species. The population of red-shanked deer langurs in the Sơn Trà Peninsula is the largest single population of the species remaining in the world.
According to research in the Sơn Trà Peninsula, there are about 250 to 300 individuals of red-shanded dog langur. They are living in groups of families covering an area of 150 to 200 hectares, where they eat young leaves.
However, their living conditions are being affected by local people. Forest destruction and improper tourism exploitation endanger the primate's habitat.
Trees in the peninsula's northwest, where 135 individuals from 7 langur families live, have been cut down. This short-sighted action has forced the monkeys to leave their home and look for another place to live.
The Municipal Natural Resources and Environment Department has asked the People's Committee to tighten solutions to protect the primate. To promote the cause and raise local awareness, it has asked for the image of the red-shanked deer langur to be used as a proud symbol of the city's biodiversity. For its part, Da Nang City should build a long-term and more sustainable preservation strategy to protect the precious species.
And that was the end of our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.